Let's talk gorillas for a few minutes. I wanted to address my thoughts on some of the folks who are very upset that gorillas are in zoos. And I appreciate that that's upsetting to them and that they care so much, and I love that. But I do want people to consider that there's more to it than that. So think of yourselves for a moment. First of all, you're able to build yourself a home, generally speaking, and drive a car and, walk far and all of those things. And gorillas in general, even in the jungle where they live, they don't go far. In nature, they don't cross continents or anything like that. They just live in their small families in the jungle. And, when things enter their jungle, their living area, they have to defend themselves and all of those things. So it's not an easy life out there. But on top of that, these bachelors here, these three, they're all middle-aged gorillas. They're in their 20s, late 20s. And this is an enormous house. In the gorilla world, this is like them living in a mansion, okay? The land that they're on, they don't have any predators. They don't have to worry about being bulldozed. They don't have any of that. They always have food. And consider if you were a middle-aged person in your home and you were somebody who just liked to sit on the porch and watch the cars go by or look out the window or even kind of watch TV. I want you to think of it that way for the gorillas. That's basically what they do when they come out. The first thing they do is they patrol the entire yard. They check to make sure that everything's good. It's the same as they had it before. They know where their food's going to be, and they're going to come and see the visitors. They are sitting in the same spots every day that I go there, waiting to see. I get there first thing in the morning, see them come out, and they're always in the same spots. They are creatures of habit. And if they don't want to come out, they're not forced to come out. The zoo lets them stay in their night quarters if that's what they want to do, if they weren't feeling good or they just don't want to see people. So almost always they come out. There are a few who stay back, or on any given day, one of them might stay back, but it's unusual. They're almost always all of them out. So they're happy enough to come out and come up to the people and look at them. And they frequently approach me. They've seen me a lot, and I know for sure that they approach the docents that are there. And we'll sit with the docents for a long time. So Bambio is one of the females, and she is quite enamored with an elderly lady. Well, elderly, she's probably like 65 or something, so not particularly old, but that lady sits with her until people come by, and they just sit there and blow kisses at each other, and she chats at her, and they just sit there comfortably hanging out like two old ladies might do, or two women might do. And same thing with the boys. They don't usually sit there with you for very long. They'll usually turn their back on you if they decide to just sit with you. But Tambo and Ngoma, his twin, they will frequently sit in the curved windows, and that's just where they sit and watch everybody. And they're calmly just seeing, and if they don't want to look at you, they look away. They don't really care one way or another. In regards to them coming up and thumping the windows, sometimes they just do it to entertain the children. But the most of the time, if they do it to put somebody in their place, it's almost always adult men for these bachelors. They don't usually thump a window for a female at all. And for the little kids, they won't do it particularly hard. But if they see an adult man kind of looking in the window, they will kind of quickly come over and do that. But again, if the man is not looking directly in the window, kind of looking like another ape, so to speak, they usually just ignore them and maybe look at them, but just do their thing. So they're getting a lot more out of their life than I think folks believe. They're getting enrichment. They get puzzles that they have to figure out how to get their food or something that they like a lot. They're constantly getting checked by the veterinarians and the animal techs to make sure that they're healthy, so that any issues can be taken care of, and that of course makes them live a longer life. They really are being watched for how happy they are and all those kinds of things. So I just hope that everybody can keep that in mind and see that, they don't really have a change in their facial expressions to tell you happy or sad. Even like chimpanzees kind of can smile. I've never once seen a gorilla smile. I've seen them yawn, but I have not. Even when they charge a window, they don't have a different look on their face. It all seems the same all the time. So you can read into the look in their face however you want, but generally speaking, it just is what it is. So it's just something to consider. Especially as they get older, they get less interested in doing things. So just sitting and watching is a great pastime. You can ask many adults, many elderly people, if they like to sit out on the porch and just watch people go by. They have some stories to tell just from that. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video and seeing these handsome gorillas in their little mansion of a home. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Did you see him? Did you know? Hi. Why are you shivering like that? What is happening? Are you looking at the girl gorilla? So the family of gorillas is over there. The triad of gorillas is over there. Dude looks like he has a limp.